So honored to have with me the two-time WWE Hall of Famer, five-time WCW champion, former world champion, and the voice of NXT, the one and only Booker T. Booker,
Six,
welcome to Under the Ring.
six-time world champ. 6 time.
Five-time WCW champ,
Yeah,
one-time WWE. So
yeah.
there we go. So glad you're with me today on Under the Ring Pro Wrestling Conversations. Thanks so much. Let's start with NXT. You're now on that show every week. I get a real kick out of watching that show. It's become really good in a very short period of time. What are you enjoying about it, and what stands out to you about being in NXT every week?
It's kind of like my school. A bunch of young guys trying to make their way through this business, trying to feel, their way through the land. Amazing talent. That's the one thing that stands out more than anything. That these young guys, like on another level, as far as talent goes, and trying to hone that talent into something is what I like about being here at NXT more than anything. Working with the young minds, having them being able to pick my brain, talk about the what works in the business, the what not to do's. That's what's really cool about me, to actually see them make real mistakes in real time, and I can actually speak on it in real time, and then they come talk to me about, hey, what were you talking about, out there, and then we can actually go over it, and then they go, oh yeah. So for me, it's awesome. It's pretty awesome.
I'm having a real good time listening to you on the commentary too. Are you enjoying getting back doing that again?
I love doing commentary, like I do it now, because it's my style. It's a little different than being on the main roster. I don't have to be so politically correct or anything like that. It's a different flavor as well. I don't do it like most. I don't talk like most, which is the beauty of it. Because I always thought about wrestling, when I was doing it. I always, tried to take it as serious as I possibly could, but I always wanted to have some fun at the same time. And I try to think about that when I do commentary. Is of course we gotta, cross our T's and dot our I's, but we gotta make this show entertaining and fun. Somebody got to be laughing at certain points, because if they're not, we're not doing our jobs.
Very good. Now, looking specifically at the Stand and Deliver, the upcoming Carmelo Hayes and Braun Breaker match, I think that could be one of the better wrestling matches on a completely stacked weekend of stuff. How do you sum up both of those guys, and what are you expecting from that match?
Just to use a quote, from Booker T, it's going to be hotter than that Cholula Green. Come WrestleMania weekend with those two guys, because those two guys, they want the same thing. They want the same thing. They want to be the best. I know I want to be better than the guy that was standing across from me, and I know both of those guys have that same feeling, which is going to make the best of competition. I know when I stood across from Scott Steiner, back in WCW, I knew his background. I knew his wrestling pedigree, but I wanted to go out and beat the hell out of Scott Steiner every time I had a chance. And I'm sure Carmelo Hayes is going to feel that way about Braun Breaker. Braun is going to feel that way about Carmelo Hayes, because both of those guys want to be the best here in NXT. But it's not just about NXT. It's about making it to that next level. And hopefully on that night, Stand and Deliver, they will prove to the world that they are both ready to take on that task.
One thing that's cool for me too is I had the opportunity to see Carmelo Hayes before he was part of the WWE on the in Northeast Wrestling up here in I'm based out of Poughkeepsie, New York. So I've seen him many times through there, and just knowing what a great talent he is and seeing how that reflected so well onto coming into the WWE too has been just great for me to see. So we had Roxanne Perez on the show a few weeks ago around the time of Vengeance Day, actually, in Charlotte. What has it been like for you to see her progress up close in NXT? And you obviously have worked with her, trained her for a long time. When did it really click for her in your eyes?
I think it clicked day one with Roxanne. Even though she was only 16 years old, she was like, leaps and bounds ahead of, the 20-year-olds and the 25-year-olds. It was amazing. And she was just a student of the game. Roxanne, she learned all the little bitty things about the wrestling business, not just the moves or anything like that, but she knows how to take the engine, apart and put it back together exactly the same way. And that's what I think, that's just the training. One thing, but I think it's her wanting it more than anyone as well. I don't think you get to that position without wanting it more than the next person, and I think that's what's enabled her to, be, so great so soon. And the thing now is just, staying focused, understanding that this is just the beginning. This is just the tip of the iceberg. So I'm proud. I'm really proud of her.
Yeah, and it's fun to be able to see you commentate on her matches too, and see that genuine emotion that you have watching her, and you can really feel that as a fan of just how excited you are, to see her success. What was it like being there when she beat Mandy Rose?
Oh man, I'll break down crying in a heartbeat at the drop of a hat. But it was great to see her capture the NXT championship from Mandy. Of course, Mandy had done so much, for the division, and then to see the next generation, which is Roxanne Perez, someone who I had such a big part in, trying to get to this point. Yeah, it was a surreal moment. I didn't know whether to get up and go and congratulate her and give her a hug, sit at the desk and try to compose myself and just still be the commentator. It was one of those moments. Somebody had to buzz me to actually go up and give her a hug, and I made sure she was off the air before I did it. Because I just wanted to make sure she had that moment and know that that moment was hers, and that moment was something that she deserves. She did that all on her own. I had nothing to do with that, zero. And I just wanted her to have that feeling and know that.
Very good. How much does development and training? I know you have the reality wrestling in Houston, and you're with NXT every week. How much does that kind of differ from the situation you and your brother had breaking into the business with like Polish Power, Evan Putski, and Cowboy Scott Casey back in the day? I didn't realize until recently. I think you guys had Tony Norris, Ahmed Johnson with you back then when you were breaking in too. I used to watch Global when I was younger, so I remember the Evan experience well. What are the similarities and differences about breaking in back then versus what you're seeing these days?
There are no similarities. It's totally different now. It's like one of these Tesla plants, and they just putting them out. You know what I mean? They getting all different brands. It's like that now. Back then, we were on the road. We were, traveling around. I call it on the job training. We was watching guys work. We were trying to figure it out, trying to understand the psychology of the crowd, what make the fans, tick, what make them work a certain way, what they're gonna, what's gonna motivate them, and then you only learned that from, watching veterans go out there and do it, and then that light bulb go off, and you go, wow, okay, that's why, they did that. So for me, back then it was a totally a big difference in the way they do it now. But for me, my training at my wrestling school, I'm not that far gone to understand that we are in a millennial age now, and we got to understand that it's about these young people and what they do as well. So I try not to forget about what these young people do today, and what we did yesterday, and to try to mesh it together and try to make it work. Just to, so they'll know that, I got my tool bag, and I know which tool to use, according to what job, I'm doing, so that's the way I try to teach them.
And it's interesting too for me to see with NXT. Sometimes you've got some of the veterans coming in, like a Jinder Mahal or an Apollo Crews or AJ Styles. I think for a little bit there with Grayson Waller. So there still is that opportunity to pick the brains of what the veterans are doing and kind of watch their tendencies and stuff too to try to get better.
Well, if they want to make it to the next level, if they want to, become Hall of Famers one day, they will be wise, pick the brains of those veterans that have gone, to that level. I always say most great coaches, they may not have won the ring, but they've been on the team that have gotten to that next level. So they know exactly what it means to make it to that next level. So I think it's important, for guys like me to still be around. I call myself like the one of the last carpenters left in the business. So I'm just still trying to lay down the foundation, and hopefully its foundation is strong.
Anybody else you're looking at in NXT who's kind of standing out to you, maybe either on the Stand and Deliver card or otherwise, who you think people should keep an eye on and get familiar with?
There's three guys that I'm really high on, and that's JD McDonough, Ilya Dragunov, and Axiom. Axiom could be the next great mass superstar. I know we got Dragon Lee here now, and people have given Dragon Lee a lot of high praise, but this kid Axiom is definitely unbelievable. And JD McDonough, they don't come too many. They don't. Excuse me. Not too many come better than this kid. He's next level talent, as well as Dragunov. Those guys go out there and they really make you feel a certain way when you're watching them. So I say pay attention to Stand and Deliver, because Dragunov and JD McDonough could steal the show.
Anybody else you've seen up through your own promotion in Reality of Wrestling who really has been standing out to you lately, or people who have come through there either through your school or through your promotion?
Oh man, I'm just waiting to see Gino Medina get his shot.
Nice.
I'm waiting on Mysterious Q to get his shot. Brian Keith, and the king of the underground, waiting on him to get his shot. Gigi, I can't, Gigi Ray, I'm waiting on her to get her shot. Promise Braxton, she's on the rise, and there's so much promise in Promise Braxton. So it's a plethora of talent in Reality of Wrestling that's looking to come up. And let's not forget about my young man Zach Mason. He's another one that I'm pushing to get to that next level. So a lot of my kids are ready to get to that next level.
Very good. Well, keep notes on these and come back in a little while and see where everybody's at. I love watching the way the talents are honored at the WWE Hall of Fame. You've been inducted twice, both solo and with Harlem Heat. I was in attendance at your first one in 2013 at Madison Square Garden. What does it mean to you when you're on stage reliving your career and your life, or in the case of Harlem Heat, you and your brother together as a unit?
I got a chance to make that walk in 2013 as a singles, and my brother was there to induct me, and it was a great night for me. It was a really great night for me. I got a chance to thank the fans for that awesome ride. And I think that's the one thing that so many of us didn't get a chance to do, and it's so important to do, I think, anyway. And then for my brother to have that moment to be able to thank the fans as well, it was really, really cool. And I think more important than anything, I think that's what that night is all about. It's about us thanking the fans for giving us this opportunity to perform in front of them for so long, and for them enabling us to live the way we do. One for them, it would be no us. It really wouldn't. So for me, that's what the Hall of Fame was about, as well as the independent fee happened to go up a little bit.
I thought your brother's introduction of you was beautiful, and I thought your acceptance was fantastic too. It was really, really great to be there to hear that, and then of course to see him honored again too was pretty cool too. Is there any moment in your career, whether it was early on or WCW or WWE, where I asked you about Roxanne, about her turning the corner? Was there a moment in your career where you felt like, okay, I've turned the corner, I'm getting this a lot better than I ever thought I would?
I felt that way from day one. First contract I was offered was $75,000. That's more money than I made in 4 years previous. So I was pretty happy just making that. But I knew it was a whole lot more out there. But I knew in order for that to happen, I had to be really, really good. I had to be extraordinary. So I thought about being the best, from the beginning. It was never a moment that I didn't feel like I was better than everybody in the locker room. It's just that I'm not saying that to brag or anything like that, but I always pushed myself to be the best. I always told myself I was the best, and I always was willing to go out and prove that I was the best. And damn it, if nobody else give me props or pat me on the back, I'll pat myself on the back as far as how good I was to have made it through this game and to made it to such a high level. You have to really be focused. And for me, for more than 20 years, I was laser focused. So the only way I can answer that is, like I say, from day one, I felt that way.
Great. We're going to move on to something we call the 3 count now. It's going to be 3 quick questions and your answers. The first one is, what does shucky ducky quack quack mean to you?
It means anything. I mean, you can see a nice, shiny new car rolling down the highway, and you go shucky ducky quack quack. You see a nice looking lady, you know what I mean, with a nice sundress on. You shucky ducky. You quack quack. You know what I mean? So it can mean anything. You know what I mean?
All right. Next question. With the exception of your King Booker run, your TNA run, and your WWE Originals track, you've had the same theme music for about 30 years. I guess the first question is, do you at least dig that song? And if you had to come out to anything else on the radio, what would it be?
Do I dig that song? Oh man, I love that song. I picked that song. My brother and I, we picked that song for a certain reason. We wanted people to be able to, identify, Harlem Heat, not just 2 black guys, not just guys that just listen to rap music or anything like that. We wanted everybody to be a part of, Harlem Heat. So I think that's why the music lasted for so long. I really don't think we could have did it. I know I couldn't have done it without that music. That music played a big role in who I was for so many years, still to this day. And the second part of that question, what was it?
If you had to come out to any other song on the radio, what would it
be? Tupac's "The Last One Left," but they can't play it on the radio.
You get some sort of radio edit or something like that to make that happen. Did you guys have I'm trying to remember back. I don't remember at all. Did you guys have a theme as Ebony Experience when you did that?
It was just like some generic theme, it was like some techno like music. I remember it, like so vividly to this day. It was so not Booker T and Stevie Ray.
Right. Yeah,
but it worked. But it worked back then.
I couldn't even remember. I remember seeing you guys, and I don't remember what the song was. And then finally, just the last question. You've had such a long, illustrious career. Is there anyone you just missed or was before your time who you would have loved to have faced?
It's only one person I didn't work, and that was Shawn Michaels. I always thought Shawn Michaels was, the best. They didn't call him Mr. WrestleMania for nothing. He was really that good. I always thought he was phenomenal. And to not have gotten a chance to mix it up with Shawn Michaels one-on-one in that square circle, man, I missed out. But that's the only guy.
Yeah, it's interesting because you've crossed paths with pretty much everybody else that you would have wanted to. Anybody you grew up watching that you would have that you feel like, okay, that would have been a pretty good match. It's hard to do that with wrestling sometimes, the time and place. I know.
Well, I mean, for me, it's really hard because all those guys that I was, wishing as a kid to actually work with, one day I got a chance to work with them, like, Macho Man Savage, like, Mr. Perfect, like, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, like Ric Flair. I got a chance to get in the ring with all of those guys, so I think my bucket list was crossed off, in my younger career.
That's really great. Well, Booker T, thank you so much for doing this today. You've got NXT on USA Network every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. You've got NXT Stand and Deliver coming up on pay-per-view on April 1st on WrestleMania Sunday. Of course, Reality of Wrestling out there in Houston, Texas for people to check out. Thank you so much for coming by today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Have a good one.